Don't have a barbecue but still want amazing ribs? Let me show you how it's done, side dishes and all. Starting off with the dry rub, add together 2 tablespoons brown sugar, 1 tablespoon onion powder, 1 tablespoon garlic powder, 2 tablespoons smoked paprika, 1 tablespoon black pepper, 1 tablespoon smoked salt. Whisk it all together and break up the clumps with your hands. Set this aside and grab your meat. Today, I'll be using pork side ribs, also known as spare ribs. These ribs tend to be less expensive than back ribs, but typically have a better meat to bone ratio, making it my go-to for ribs. The spice rub will help break down the connective tissue before cooking, which will result in a more tender rib. Make sure you get into every nook and cranny and don't worry about using too much of the rub. Next, grab a baking sheet with a wire rack on it and lay out your ribs. If you don't have a wire rack for the pan, just lay down some parchment paper or tinfoil instead. Now it's time to cover the ribs in tinfoil and throw them into the oven at 225 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 to 3 hours. While we wait for the ribs, let's make some cornbread. In a bowl, add 1 cup all-purpose flour, 1 cup cornmeal, 1/3 cup white sugar, 1/3 cup brown sugar, 1 tablespoon baking powder, 1 teaspoon smoked sea salt, regular salt is fine as well. Whisk until combined and set aside. In a separate bowl, combine 2 large eggs, half cup melted unsalted butter, 1 cup buttermilk or 2% milk, and whisk until smooth. Grab the dry ingredients and add the wet ingredients into them. Whisk until it looks like a thick pancake batter. Now, grab a muffin tin or mini loaf pan and spray with Pam. Fill about halfway, making sure to leave enough room for the cornbread to expand without overflowing. Throw these in an oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 to 25 minutes. Time will vary depending on your pan size. Use a knife to loosen the cornbread from the pan. Remove the cornbread from the pan and let it cool on a rack. Let's check back in on the ribs. Looks like they're coming along nicely. I'm going to throw them back in the oven, uncovered, for another 30 to 45 minutes to get a nice crust. As we all know, you can't have barbecue ribs without coleslaw. In a bowl, combine 3 tablespoons mayo, 1 tablespoon Dijon mustard, 1 tablespoon apple cider vinegar, 2 teaspoons celery salt, 1 teaspoon black pepper. Whisk together and set aside, and then we need to chop our vegetables. Peel some carrots and cut them into a fine julienne. If you have troubles doing this with a knife, you can always use a cheese grater instead. Next, we need to shred the cabbages. Today, I'll be using both green cabbage and red cabbage. You can either use a knife to do this process, or a cheese grater would work as well. Toss all vegetables into a bowl and cover with the coleslaw dressing and mix together. Time to whip up a quick whiskey barbecue sauce. Add 1 cup of hickory barbecue sauce to a pan and add a few good splashes of whiskey and heat over low while stirring. Let's check in on the ribs and how that crust is forming. Looking good. Now let's coat these in some barbecue sauce and place them back in the oven on broil until bubbly. For a saucier rib, you can repeat this step 2 to 3 times. Now that the ribs are all done, let's take it to the board and get it all plated up. And there you have it, our sweet and sticky barbecue ribs, our cornbread, and our fresh coleslaw. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen today. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more mouth-watering recipes. Don't forget to comment below, letting me know what recipes you'd like to see in the future. And as always, thanks for watching, and see you next time.